We have Representative Jeff Leach. He represents District 67, Plainview, Allen, Richardson, in Dallas and Collin County. And he joins us right now here on the Chad Hasty Show on the Texas Town Square Media Network. Representative Leach, welcome back to the show. How are you today?
Chad, I'm great. Good to be with you again.
Absolutely. Well, I guess before we get into some of the priorities and everything else, have we heard of any committee assignments yet?
As of this moment, not yet. We do expect those to come out here relatively shortly, probably in the next few days.
Okay, all right. There was some talk that they may come out today, so a lot of the Tex Ledge political nerds were all watching Twitter to see when those would be announced. But okay, and hopefully in the next few days we'll see those come out. Do appreciate your time today. Before we get into your priorities, your thoughts on what the governor had to say earlier this week in his State of the State address.
Well, I thought my desk mate Dustin Burrows from Lubbock did a great job on your show yesterday, outlining what the governor talked about in terms of his legislative priorities and the priorities for the state. There's no question, Chad, right now that we have our challenges. There's no question that people are concerned. A lot of people are angry. There's a lot of people who've lost trust in their agencies and their elected officials at all levels. But here in Texas, we're doing very well. We're unique among the 50 states in that we have, again, not done everything perfectly, but we've got a great opportunity to emerge from this pandemic, this crisis, stronger than we entered it, to lead the way for the rest of the country. And the governor laid out a great vision for the state in terms of protecting our fundamental liberties and freedoms, protecting our taxpayers, protecting our rights to worship, the right to life, Second Amendment rights. And that's what this session is going to be about, is keeping Texas strong and making it stronger in the years to come.
Yeah, the governor has signaled in an interview with the Texas Tribune that he is open to talking about emergency powers and, you know, what needs to change, what doesn't need to change. And I hope there's a big, robust debate over this in Austin. Do you think there will be? And what are some changes that you think might need to be made in the future for future governors?
Well, look, if there's one thing I know about this governor, he's not afraid of a smart, reasoned debate and deliberation on important issues. Governor Greg Abbott has done an incredible job leading our state through this pandemic. Look, there's no instruction manual for this. There's no instruction manual for a pandemic. And I believe that we here in the state of Texas, not only at the state level, but the local level, have, for the most part, done a really good job of navigating this. But there's got to be some serious conversations about, yes, what we've done right, but also some holes that need to be filled, maybe some things that we can do better at. And this governor is open to the House and the Senate in collaboration with his office and in response to the people of Texas having that important debate this session.
Are you one of those lawmakers? Because it seems like there were some who wanted to be called to Austin or, you know, have a Zoom meeting or however it would have been done during the, during the height of the pandemic earlier this year. But were you one of those who would have liked to have the legislature be called into a special session, or were you okay with the governor kind of handling everything on his own with his team?
You know, I think we need to have a discussion about that this session, and I've talked to the governor and his team about that. The governor here in Texas, as it's been said many times before, and I know you've talked about this on your show, we are a part-time legislature. We are normal, average, everyday men and women who have jobs and families and livelihoods back home, and we come to Austin temporarily for 140 days every 2 years. And by the way, some people wish it was for 2 days every 140 years to come govern. But I don't think there's any question we need to have a conversation this session about under what circumstances the legislature should be called back. Do I wish that we had been called back to have more of an official voice and maybe a vote over the past year as we've dealt with this pandemic? Yeah, I do. And I think most legislators are like that. But that's not any incitement on the governor's actions or what he's done. I just think we need to have a conversation this session about maybe some changes going forward. God forbid this ever happen again down the road.
Yeah, and at some point it will. You would think at some point it will. Hopefully not anytime soon. Representative Jeff Leach joining us here on the Chad Hasty Show. What are some of your priorities in this session?
Well, look, my biggest priority, and I think the vast majority of legislators would be in this boat, is just getting our state open again, getting us back to work, getting us rolling again in a safe and healthy way. We've got a serious crisis on our hands, an educational crisis, an economic crisis, certainly a healthcare crisis that we've got to address head on. I think there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I believe that we can come out on the other side stronger than we came in. But we've got to get Texas back to work. We are the envy of the nation, Chad. We have our challenges, but we also have some great opportunities on the horizon. One of the specific issues I'm working on is religious liberty, making sure that we don't go the way of California or New York, that we don't allow any executive official or any government edict from closing our houses of worship, our churches, our synagogues, our mosques, the freedom to worship. The freedom to express our religion and to assemble is the First Amendment for a reason, and we're going to put some belts and suspenders on this session to protect that important right and fundamental liberty going forward.
What about what are your thoughts on banning taxpayer-funded lobbying? This is obviously an issue that Republicans have tried to get through the past couple of sessions. Hasn't gone that way, but I know some Republicans are hopeful that it will this time.
We got to get it done. There's no question about it. The people of Texas have spoken. We know that we've got to get it done. We worked really hard to do this last session. Your state representative, my desk mate, my good friend Dustin Burrows, others, our sitting speaker, Dave Phelan, was a joint author of that bill last session. We've got to – here's the issue for me with taxpayer-funded lobbying. If there is any local government official, whether it's a city council member or a mayor or a county commissioner, that cannot get in touch with their state representative or their state senator and has to use a lobbyist to do so, then that state representative or that state senator needs to be fired by the people, period. If any of my city council members or county commissioners or school board members tried to get a lobbyist to get in touch with me, I would hang up on the lobbyist, and I would say, they all have my cell phone number. They can contact me directly, and that's what I expect, and I think that's what every public official in Austin should expect.
Yeah, well, what do you – because one of the, I guess, pushbacks from the cities and counties, and I've had city council members on my show who say, yeah, but hey, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of bills filed. We can't keep up with them. What's the argument against that?
Well, number one, you can't keep up with them because there's a vast majority of the people of Texas that do keep up with them. Let me give you an example from last session very quickly. I filed a bill last session that would have required one of our water districts in North Texas to simply record and post online their meetings. This water district literally has stewardship of billions of dollars of ratepayer funds, and all we wanted to do was to create a simple transparency mechanism where people could view those meetings and view their proceedings online. That water district went and hired a lobbyist to kill that bill.
Jeez.
To work against the ratepayers, to work against the citizens, to use their own funds to work against the citizens. And I believe that those type uses of taxpayer funds need to be clearly banned from lobbyists doing that in Austin. By the way, they told me they said the right things to my face, but at the end of session, I felt I had clear indication that they were working behind scenes to clear to kill that transparency bill. Those are the type issues that taxpayer funds should not be used for now or in the future.
Yeah, visiting with State Representative Jeff Leach here on the Chad Hasty Show. Before I let you go, when it comes to Second Amendment issues, what are some issues that maybe voters can look forward to hearing a debate over? I know the governor's talked about Texas becoming a Second Amendment sanctuary state. We had State Senator Drew Springer on yesterday. He filed 11 bills dealing with gun rights issues. What do you think may move in this session?
I think you're going to see a ton of really important, substantive, conservative priorities move this session. Look, the vast majority of your listeners, the vast majority of the people of Texas and the citizens all across this country, they look at Washington, Chad, and they see a broken system, a divided system. They can't even talk together. They can't meet together. They can't break bread together. They can't reason. In Austin, we're going to come together. We're going to have our deliberations. We're going to have some debates. but we're going to get our work done. And then importantly, Chad, we're going to come and we're going to work and live under the laws that we create. So whether it's our Second Amendment rights, the right to life, our religious freedoms, health care, education, Texas, like I said earlier, and this isn't just a political talking point. Literally, there's no place I'd rather be right now than in the great state of Texas. And so what we're going to do is double down on the Texas miracle and try to build a fortress around what we've built. And then importantly, we're not going to secede from the union like some people want us to. We're not going to do that. That's crazy talk. What we're going to do is we're going to set the example for the rest of the country, and hopefully other states and maybe someday Washington will follow our lead.
Yeah, you did. Okay, since you brought it up, I'll go there. We did have Representative Kyle Biederman on the show, and I mean, you two kind of got into it on Twitter. I'll play the opposite role here. Okay, I'll ask you this because reading his bill, what it would do is, to me, allow for an official discussion to take place. What would be so wrong with that?
Well, number one, it's a violation of his oath. He took the same oath that I did when I swore an oath just a few weeks ago. I put my hand on the Bible, my grandfather's Bible, who, by the way, is from Lubbock, is from West Texas, and is now buried in West Texas. I have his Bible in my desk on the House floor, and I put my hand on that Bible, and I swore an oath, number one, to uphold, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Texas. And so when Kyle Biederman or any other reckless individual says that Texas needs to consider seceding from the United States, retreating, cutting and running from the United States, I have a serious problem with that. I think it's reckless, dangerous, and it's anti-American. What we should do, again, recognizing that people are angry, people have lack of trust, and they're concerned about the future of our country. The future of our country depends on a great and strong and vibrant Texas. So we can either cut and run and give up, or we can reinvest and we can reignite and recommit ourselves to the promise of America. And I believe if there's any state, any people that is going to save America, it's going to be the great people of Texas. And we have a great opportunity to do that this session.
State Representative Jeff Leach, always a pleasure visiting with you. Hopefully we'll get to visit with you throughout the session this go-around, and we wish you the best of luck down in Austin.
Chad, thank you, my friend. Be well.
All right, thank you. That's State Representative Jeff Leach, representing District 67, the Plano, Allen, Richardson, Dallas, and Collin County area. We do appreciate him for joining us here on the program.